Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call is 888-589-8840. What I want to take calls on in this segment is the number of Christians now that are being fired or not being allowed to pursue certain occupations just because they are Christians. Now, this is a disturbing trend. We sent out a press release today on 2 additional cases. And since our press release went out this morning talking about the number of Christians who are denied employment, denied careers just for being Christians, it's an alarming trend. And I got 2 of them right here, and then I'll mention the third. And I want to get your reaction to this, 888-589-8840. I mean, we're getting to the point, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not exaggerating here, we're getting to the point where the gay Gestapo is going to make us wear little cross emblems on our sleeves like the Jews in Nazi Germany had to wear Stars of David. They're going to make us wear yellow crosses on our sleeves so they can identify us, so they will know whom not to hire. They will know whom to fire. They will know whom not to hire. They will know whom not to do business with. I mean, we're getting to that point where if you have symbolically have a yellow cross patched onto your sleeve, you're not eligible to hold a job and to pursue certain careers. Now, one of the cases I mentioned yesterday was that editor at newspaper in Iowa got canned because on his personal blog, he expressed his opinion about marriage being the union of one man and one woman. He got summoned to the publisher's office and fired on the spot. Now, here's a story from HGTV. I don't know if you know what HGTV is. I've kind of seen it in passing, but it's the Home and Garden television network. And they've had this, they were getting ready to roll out this program that featured 2 twin brothers. It was kind of a flip a house show. Here's how it was presented by the Benham brothers, 2 twin brothers. And here's how the plan was going. This is what the series was going to be like. It was going to premiere in October, and it was going to star these 2 twins, David and Jason Benham. Now, their father is Flip Benham, very, very active in the pro-life movement. In fact, he had a lot to do with Jane Roe, the Roe of Roe v. Wade, Norma McCorvey, coming to faith in Christ and becoming pro-life. Flip Benham was heavily involved in that. These 2 twins both went to Liberty University. Now, here is the program that was going to be aired by HGTV starting in October. Here's the concept. After a decade of flipping houses for profit, which is what the Benhams have been doing, they would now help families buy the home they thought they could never afford, a small-scale personal extreme makeover home edition. In each episode, the brothers would find a fixer-upper and transform it into their forever home. But today, this is from yesterday, USA Today, today, quietly in a tweet, HGTV says the show will not be happening. You want to know why? Because they found out that these brothers were actively pro-life and pro-marriage. One of the brothers, David Benham, actually prayed at an event outside the Democratic National what do they call the convention, the National Convention in 2012. He was part of a prayer event outside the arena where the Democrats were having their annual convention. Remember, that's the one where they booed God and they voted God out of the Democratic Party, voted God out of the building, voted God out of the platform. And Anthony Villagrosa, who was the MC of the thing, had to basically violate parliamentary procedure by declaring that the ayes had it when it was very, very clear that the majority of the people in the room didn't want anything to do with God, didn't want him connected to their party, didn't want him connected to the meeting, didn't want him connected to the convention, didn't want him connected to their party platform in any way. So David Benham is there leading a prayer outside the convention, 2 Chronicles 7:14, praying that God would bring this nation back to God. And he's pro-family, went on Jannett Medford's program and said, we have to resist the homosexual agenda. It's going to destroy this land. The same kind of stuff you hear on this program every day. Well, Right Wing Watch They're trolling me right now. I'm sure Right Wing Watch is recording this right now and cyber stalking me. They put something up from my program almost every day. I've got more entries on Right Wing Watch than anybody in the world. So they cyber stalk me. They target me. And when Right Wing Watch found out that David Benham had done this, that he was pro-life and pro-marriage, they put out a piece yesterday, just yesterday afternoon, explaining that, or maybe it was the day before. I mean, it's the last 2 days. And almost instantly, the gay lobby found out about this. They besieged HGTV, and HGTV pulled the program just in less than 24 hours. You know, it shows you the power of the bullies and the bigots of Big Gay. We have a gay Gestapo. So now they are terminating careers in broadcasting. Remember, Craig James got fired by Fox Sports Southwest. His career in broadcasting terminated because he's pro-marriage and pro-family. Now the Benham brothers, their show on HGTV, they're told they're not welcome, they're not accepted in polite company. The gay Gestapo has struck again, one profession, one career after another being denied to American citizens because they believe in Jesus Christ and believe what the Bible teaches about marriage. And by the way, I'm looking at two copies of the same story from USA Today, because I remember being struck by this. I couldn't find the original story, so I went back to USA Today to print it out, and they had changed the headline. They had changed the headline on the story. Yesterday, the first time the story appeared, it's the same story. I'm looking at it. It's the identical story. It's no different. It's the same story. Word for word. It's the same story. They just changed the headline. The original headline yesterday was HGTV nixes Benham brothers after background check. You see what they're doing here? They are likening belief in natural marriage and the sanctity of life to criminality. These guys failed a background check. Now, if you want to hire somebody, part of the background check has got to be, is this guy a Bible-believing Christian? Does this guy believe in the sanctity of life? Does this guy believe in the sanctity of marriage? If he cannot pass the background check, if he fails, it's just like he's a felon. It's like he's got a criminal record, and he's going to be disqualified from employment. Now, they changed the headline because I think they realized how bad that sounded. Changed it today, so now it reads, Benham Brothers, if faith costs us TV show, so be it. Now, one other, then we'll go to the phones, 888-589-8840. The Golden State Warriors, my NBA team, fired their coach Mark Jackson. Turns out it might be his Christian views might have had something to do with that. He got the Warriors in the playoffs this year. They haven't been there in years. He was successful, winning record, had some real energy behind the franchise, and he got fired this week. And here's an article about it. When Jason Collins came out, this is what Jackson said. Mark Jackson, the coach of the Warriors, who's a strong Bible-believing believer. We live in a country that allows you to be whoever you want to be. As a Christian man, I serve a God that gives you free will to be who you want to be. As a Christian man, I have beliefs of what's right and what's wrong. That being said, I know Jason Collins, I know his family, and I am certainly praying for him at this time. So he wouldn't come out enthusiastically supportive of Jason Collins coming out as a homosexual ball player and NBA player, and it's perfectly possible that that resulted in him being terminated. So the number of professions and careers and jobs now that are open to Christians is shrinking by the day. Let's go to Dale in Arkansas, 888-589-8840. Let's grab a call from Dale in Arkansas. Dale, welcome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just listening to what you were talking about, everyone getting fired for their beliefs.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. When you hire somebody, if you're in the supervisory position and you go to hire somebody, you're not supposed to show any prejudice against race, creed, color, religion, everything. I don't see how they're getting away with this, and how come they're not being sued for it. If I go to hire somebody and he says he's gay, and I say, well, I'm not hiring you, I'm going to get the pantsuit off of me.
That's just a lawsuit waiting to happen. Well, and Craig James is doing that, and I think we need to do this. I think we need to fight fire with fire. I agree with you, Dale, and I don't know. Apparently, the Benham brothers are just going to roll over and take this. I don't know what Mark Jackson would do. I don't know how, if there's a smoking gun there with Mark Jackson, they may have plausible deniability and say, oh, no, it didn't have anything to do with it. But if you are fired for your religious beliefs, that's contrary to state law in every state in the union. You cannot discriminate in hiring and firing on the basis of religion. So HGTV, when they fire these guys because they have Christian beliefs, they can't do that. That is illegal. It's against employment law. So I don't know. These guys don't sound like the type that are going to want to get into a cage fight with HGTV. I personally wish they would. I think that's what we have to do. I think we have to strike back. We've got to strike back hard. We've got to go to court. The law's on our side in a situation like this. That's what it's there for, and we shouldn't hesitate to use it. But I don't know if it'll happen. But I agree with you, Dale, and I'll give you the last word here. I agree we have to be more aggressive about pressing our legal rights in court, just like Paul did in the city of Philippi.
We got to start standing up and fighting this stuff. I mean, this turning the other cheek that everybody's doing is just not working. I mean, we're going to have to get some warrior blood in us and start fighting against this stuff. They're just running over us like nothing. There's a minority on here, and they're just running over us like they're King Kong or something.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it, Dale. And Dale's right. This is a tiny minority. I mean, homosexuals, UCLA did a study, the most thorough study that's been done of the homosexual population in America. Male homosexuals, about 2% of the population. Lesbians, less than 2%. So less than 4% of the population of the United States is homosexual, and yet they are exercising a totalitarian control over our entire economy and over who gets to work and what kind of careers you're eligible for. We brought you stories before. Photographers can't be in photography business unless they shoot lesbian ceremonies. Bakers, if they won't bake cakes for homosexual ceremonies, they go out of business. Florists get punished. Sports broadcasters lose their jobs. Counselors can't go into the counseling profession, get kicked out of counseling programs. Innkeepers, if they won't host same-sex wedding receptions, get booted out of business. Teachers get kicked out of education programs. And now guys getting kicked off of cable TV reality show because they happen to be Christians. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 5.